Previously on Criticizer of Conlangs. So, in all seriousness, thank you guys for the well-meaning criticism, trying to actually improve this channel from being a Conlang critic clone that started as a parody but became unironic once I realized I really enjoyed doing it, to maybe something with some actual merit on its own. So I decided to kind of shake up the style this episode, deviate from the norm, and I'll let the world decide if it's something that you guys want to keep or return to the original format. Anyway, there is actually a Conlang today, and it's Ishkrin, an artlang created by my friend Wilhelm Succulent, well, that's his pseudonym, about 2 years ago as part of a world building project. And he will be collabing in some parts of the video and sharing his very self-deprecating opinions on this language. And he really wanted me to clarify that he's no longer working on this or cares about it in favor of his new artlang Thoosh. And if this does turn out to be anything like Conlang critic, I suspect that Succulent will become eventually my own Jack Eisenman. So let's just get into it. Anyway, this is the phonology of Ishkrin, but this chart was not available. I had to simplify it from this self-labeled abomination left in the original reference grammar by Wilhelm Succulent. Pretty clearly, what he did was go in the Wikipedia article, English phonology, copy-paste the table, and remove the sounds he didn't want, which shows his self-admitted extreme lack of experience as a conlanger at this point. But, glad we could all laugh about it. Yeah, so reading the phonology chart was one of the biggest criticisms that I had received about the first 2 episodes, so not going to do that this time. Just going to assume that viewers of an extremely niche Conlang-based YouTube channel know what all these symbols mean, and if they don't, that they can look them up. But yeah, for an artlang, no concerns of practicality, as in an IAL. Overall, this inventory it's decent, but my only complaint, and this is subjective because it's art, is it just doesn't seem very exotic. I mean, we can tell by the way he made it that, all these sounds are in English, but I don't know, it's just, this is like some crazy culture with everything their own way, and they don't, all their sounds are really just strike me as really normal as an English speaker. So, in terms of vowels, Ishkrin goes with an attempt at the 5-vowel system. So, yeah, this was not the original chart. The original chart was this, which Succulent has said that he created wrongly, and the original, the one that I made, this is actually the sounds he intended. So basically just a 5-vowel system, but E allophones into I for literally just one word, and the thing that U represents is apparently Succulent doesn't remember what he even meant that to represent, so no one will probably ever know what phoneme that actually is supposed to be. And then Succulent has the absolute gall to write in the reference grammar, quote, both charts notated using the International Phonetic Alphabet. Yeah, sure, buddy. But if I had to actually review the vowels, I would just again say, really doesn't seem that exotic, but, you know, it's all subjective, it's art. So, in terms of orthography, Ishkrin's romanization system is pretty scuffed, and like it has its own script. It doesn't use the Latin alphabet. This is just romanization for transcription. So this should just be completely practical. So why are there 3 different ways to write ka? And that's the main problem. Also, I and E aren't differentiated. And X is the velar fricative, which that's the IPA symbol, but it's not super intuitive. This is the romanization that I would suggest for Ishkrin. But as I said, Ishkrin actually does have a script, which is here, and I actually like this a lot. I think this is cool. It's playful. It seems pretty naturalistic. I mean, not much to say on this. You know, it's easier to review interlangs than artlangs, because interlangs are all going for the same goal that you can rank them against, but artlangs are subjective. And from an artistic standpoint, I like this script. I guess if I was like looking at it from a practicality standpoint of writing this stuff, the character for I is pretty complex. It's like a chair or something. But besides that, you know, it's cool. So, grammar. Just for a quick overview, it has SOV syntax. Adjectives go before the nouns, very Germanic. There's no gender, no cases, 4 tenses, including the near future, which is a Wilhelm Succulent calling card. Almost all of his conlangs have a distinct near future tense. And there's a conditional mood with 3 submoods. Capability, like could, guided, should, and codicillary, like would. And if you want a more in-depth look at the grammar, this table has literally every single conjugation. So, yeah. So my criticism for this would just be kind of the same as the inventory. It's not exotic. It's just feels so Indo-European, and again, it's an artlang, so it's subjective, but one could tell that, you know, this is basically his first conlang, because it doesn't see all the possibilities there are outside of Indo-European languages. For artlangs, I decided that the format is just going to be that I picked 10 words that I really liked in no particular order. So this is just 10 Ishkrin words that I think are pretty neat, and try to read them with my best Ishkrin accent. Thresh, Sanaka, Bon, Sakor, Warkshora, Sai, Flute, Columbum, Klest, Tristin. So, I thought those were pretty good. And there's some interesting things about vocabulary, like the word for element, Warkshora. I thought that meant like holy horse or something, or like it's like supreme horse or something like that. So there's a lot of lore and world building about the Ishkrino, about like 20 pages, which Succulent asked me not to share anything from directly here, but one could see the influence of, for example, their polytheistic religion. I thought that the word for jellyfish was like holy fish or something, so neat. Alright, number systems. Succulent was literally the one who asked for a number system to be added to the format after episode 1. So surely, Ishkrin has a cool number system to show, and it's just base 10. Also, if you look closely, one could see some influences. And for the spoken sample, Wilhelm Succulent himself.
Lepa, kantav sol gudmen amal, tarsa naba marwarkata, okor mar naba beltrish, db. Jabo jutientes salukishin sol erga di erger, bok kresh lablo amstientes talral. Di krish amshmalapisha kantaveki skolshala buquerque salushut helpa. At least, I think. Again, as I'm sure that James mentioned extensively in the phonology segment, this is not super well defined. My attempt at pronouncing this is really just a guess based on what myself from around 2 years ago thought the language should sound like. In addition, there's one note here where it says DB. Either this is an error in translation or an intentional idiom, and based on my intelligence at the time, I'm assuming it was an unintentional error. This literally means, this DB, it literally translates to and to. I'm supposed to be saying I as well, or like me too, which is, you know, the English variant of this passage, and so do I, referencing Saul's speech. But instead I just wrote and to, like literally the conjunction and to. I don't know what I was frying on that one, but either way, there it is.
Alright, so Ishkrin. Pros, it sounds good. I think pretty objectively, it just like sounds good to the ears. And, you know, first time for everything. It's not really a pro, but more of a defense. As bad as that sounds, this was basically Succulent's first, like, real big boy conlang. And it shows, but again, like, it probably couldn't have been much better than this. Just based on experience. And cons. Poorly defined. IPA is not used well, and it's just so familiar. Like, this just feels like an Indo-European language, and Succulent probably could have been a lot more creative. But it's art, it's subjective, so at the end of the day, kind of doesn't matter. But Ishkrin is the best art lang that I reviewed so far. And stay tuned for next week, where the review will be on the auxiliary language of East Asia, Manmino.